What up, y'all, and welcome to another episode of In the Studio with FM. Now, in this episode, I'm gonna be talking about vocal chops. So I did a video on my sample pack called Chill Vibes, where I had a vocal chop in there which sounded like this. So I figured I would make a little video talking about how I made that particular sample. But first, let me just talk about the different ways that you could make vocal chops, because I do it in a bunch of different ways. Without further ado, let's get into it. Bam! Here we are in the Logic project of the Elixir vocal chop. Now before I actually show you guys how I made this vocal chop, I want to get into some different methods of how you can actually make these vocal chops. So obviously you could use samples. Like you have splice samples, you have sample packs, you have a bunch of different options. Now one of the methods I actually started using a few months ago was using the Exs Sampler in Logic. You could use any sampler though. So what I would do here is I would import an acapella. Let's just go right ahead and search for an acapella. See what we have here. Oh, I got a bunch of secret stuff in here. Alright, so let's just pick Shoot 'Em Down, which is a song I released last year. Alright, so we have the acapella here. Let's just play it.
I'm building a wall.
Alright, so what you're gonna do is you're gonna go and double click the file. Then you go right here to audio file and you click on detect transients. Control click and convert it to a new sampler track. And we pick transient markers. Bam, there we go. Then we could just take all of them, delete them. And now when we play our keyboard here, we actually have the vocal chops. And that is a really efficient way that you could actually make pretty cool vocal chops. Like you could just, let's say we pitch them up here, like an octave, and oh shit, that wasn't an octave. Pitch them up an octave, put some reverb on it here. You can have some pretty cool vocal chops. Alright, so another thing that I have been using heavily for vocal chops lately has to be the Exhale plugin from Output. Now, I'm in love with the stuff that Output does. They're absolutely killing it right now. So if you're seeing this video, please sponsor me. But let's jump right ahead into Exhale here. Now, this is probably the easiest option to create these vocal chops. Bam. So you just have like a bunch of loops and slices within the plugin, and you select the key up here. All the chops in here just sound so good. You play it on the keyboard like so, like without any effects at all. They sound really good coming out of the plugin. Alright, so another trick to make vocal chops besides Exhale, that is kind of a secret thing, is if you're in Logic, you could use the plugin called Alchemy. Now, Alchemy is a really cool plugin, actually. Not many people know about Alchemy. So, what you do is you get it up here, you do an init preset, and you go to your wavetables here. You press import audio, and what you get here is a menu of different one-shot samples within the Alchemy plugin. And you go to vocals, solo vocals, and then you actually have different singers singing different phrases. So you have ah, da, e, la, oo, all those. So let's take an oo here, for example. So you have
Oh, oh,
you have a whole bunch of different oos here.
oh, oh.
Alright, let's say we like that one. We double click on that one. Now you have it here, and you can actually play it on your keyboard. Now if you add some effects on this, you can make it sound really cool. Let's go right ahead and jump into what this video is all about. The vocal chop from the Chill Vibes. Now you already heard the track in the intro of this video, but the vocal chop sounds like this. Pretty simple, and basically what I did was, let's take it and strip all the plugins away here. What I did was I recorded myself singing or humming, and note that I don't really have any tone at all in my life. So that was how it sounded raw when I recorded it. Terrible, I know. So how I processed this sample was the basic vocal plugins like de-esser, noise gate. I have an EQ. I took a lot of the low mid-range out here. And I have a compressor and a CLA vocals. So that's just the basic plugins. If you want to know how I process my vocals in general, you should watch my video on Sun Goes Down where I explain it a bit more in depth. Now, in depth. How do you pronounce that? So, now, when we have these on, the vocal sounds like this. So still terrible, but the EQ and compression gives it a little bit of edge. Now you can see I actually already sorted out these plugins a little bit here. But I have a pitch correction, which is basically auto-tune. Now, you could use a lot of different plugins for this. Waves has Real Tune. You can use Logic's pitch correction. You could use auto-tune from Antares. But basically what this does is it helps the vocal stay in tune. So it sounds like this. So what I did was I added the manipulator, which is a plugin from Infected Mushroom actually, that they did for Polyverse. And I took the preset called Duvdevina. So basically what this does is it takes both the pitch and the formants of the vocal up. So without the manipulator, it would sound like this. And with the manipulator, real thing right there. Now, I also have an EQ because the manipulator kind of fucks up the previous EQing of the vocal. Now, when this gets some reverb, I just use a basic space designer. I took the dry a little bit down and the wet a lot up, so it's basically almost a 50-50% mix of dry and wet signal from the reverb. I also added a bit of length to the reverb so it was longer. And then I had the delay designer from Logic. It's just a basic panning delay that I only have like a minus 31 dB wet on, so it's not really doing that much. Now in the end, I also have the voice-centric plugin from Waves, which I love, which just calms the vocal a little bit, EQs it a little bit. It just makes it sit better in the mix. So after all these plugins, it sounds like this. Just to conclude this vocal chart right here, you could sing anything or hum anything, and with a little bit of vocal processing, auto-tuning, and reverb and delaying, you could actually make vocal chops or atmospheric vocals. So once again, just to play you the sample without anything on it. To playing the... And it just provides an atmosphere for the whole track here. Alright, so I hope you guys enjoyed this little vocal chop segment here. Now, with vocal chops, it's all about the effects you put on afterwards. So usually, I go for the channel strip I just showed you, plus I add sidechain, bit crush, like distortion thing, sometimes even like delay, more delay, reverb, panning, weird stuff. So play with effects on your vocal chops. Now, I hope you like this video. Please smash the thumbs up button down below, and I will have loads of more content coming to you guys very, 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 very soon. Peace!
Baby, I'm a son on the beat.